somebody hit my Benz. So that was a distraction. The Honda's battery was dead. So it didn't have no vehicle for a minute. Tuesday started not feeling well. Wednesday went to urgent care because I had to travel the state on Thursday. Thursday had to go out of town, drive 3 hours to Youngstown, 3 hours back. It paid the entire time.
Jesus.
They gave me some medication at urgent care. It's not working. The pain is so intense. When I came up to the door, I was bent over. I was walking like this. You, yeah. In the back. Yes, you. I tell you, I sat in that spot and I really couldn't still move, but there's a spirit of praise, as she said. And I talked to God for a second and I felt my help.
All
and
right.
I tell you, as I stand behind this sacred desk, I don't feel a pain. I don't feel no pain. Nobody but Jesus. Nobody but Jesus. God knew that somebody here tonight needed to hear what I have to say. And to the visionary, thank you so much. It's difficult at best for people to really get an understanding of where God brought you from. I don't stand, I'm not a minister by title or evangelist or preacher or pastor. I call myself an ambassador. God gave me that because I'm going to tell him, I'm going to tell. If God's been good to me, I'm going to tell.
Yes.
If I use social media as my pulpit, I'm going to do it. You go to my social media, you see three things. You see my family, you see God, and you see money. That's right. That's what I live in ministry. I live in money. I like them all. And in no particular order. But that's the pulpit that I preach from. Yeah. And so tonight, I'm going to give you exactly what God gave me to give you. And I take notes. When the Spirit of God, I am the Spirit of God and the angel of this house. When I stand before God's people, I don't know who's in the room. He does.
That's right, he does.
And so I say, God, speak to me. Tell me what to say exactly. I'm going to write it down verbatim because I don't want to add nothing to it. And I don't want to leave anything out tonight. And so I'm not going to be before you long, I promise you, but I am going to give you exactly what the Lord gave me. He said that faith is not an isolated concept. It challenges us and it charges us. It challenges our patience, our belief. It challenges what we think. It challenges what we think we know about God. It challenges our hope. In like manner, it charges us to hope against hope. It charges us to get to know God intimately through the scriptures. It charges us to understand that faith is the proof that things do exist that we can't see.
All right.
Evidence is something tangible. That's right. Evidence is something you can see. A fingerprint, you can lift a fingerprint. A bullet is evidence. It's something you can hold in your hand. Faith says, I am the evidence of what you cannot see.
That's right.
That's the wisdom of God. Man's wisdom says, I need to hold something.
Okay.
I need to see something.
Okay.
I need to touch something.
Well.
Faith says, I need to know something. I need to feel something on the inside, not with my fingertips. Now, I need y'all to say with me 3 times. We're going to count on it. I'm going to say what I need you to say with me, and then on the count of 3, we're going to say it together. I want y'all to say Leah, Leah, Leah on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Leah, Leah, Leah.
Very good. Come on. I'm going to put a pin right there, and then I'm going to circle back around to tie faith to Leah and to Shaundretta.
All right.
Okay, come on.
Okay. So from 2003 until 2012, almost daily, I asked God these questions. I said, God, did you curse my womb because I lost my virginity at age 10 to an 18-year-old that I slept with every weekend from the age of 10 to 15? I said, God, did you curse my womb because at the age of 12, I had become a master masturbator? because I couldn't have sex every day during the week, only on the weekends.
Come on.
I learned how to satisfy myself. So
Come
young
on.
ladies, let me put a pin right there for you. Maintain your virginity.
Yes.
Maintain
Yes.
maintain your purity. Because once that box is open, it's difficult at best. It's a thirst you'll never quench. You'll always seek. It's worse than a drug. You'll always seek after it. I asked God, did you curse my womb because of my promiscuity? My nickname used to be cocaine. They used to call me cocaine because they said one hit of me and men would be addicted. Wow. I had been asking God these questions in 2003 because that's when I got married. I became a wife in 2003.
All right.
I got married at the age of 23. I'm now 42, and I'm still married to that one man.
All right.
If he was here, I would embarrass him and call him my chocolate delicious yumminess. So if you could do the math right quick from 2003 to 2022, that's 19 years. So 19 years, this has been my husband, my rock, my
Amen.
So I asked God those questions. In 2012, God answered me back. And he said, no, I have not cursed your womb. And I was able to conceive a baby.
Come on.
7 weeks later, I didn't find out I was pregnant until I was 12 weeks pregnant. 7 weeks later, I went into preterm labor and lost the baby.
Jesus.
Devastated, discouraged, depressed, every D word you could think of, I was. What I never did was blame God. And what I never did was lose faith. Because God answered my question. My question to God was, God, can I conceive?
That's right.
Can I conceive?
That's right.
He showed me that I could. He answered that particular question. Couldn't be mad at God. So let me fast forward a little while because the evangelist gave me 10 minutes, so I'm gonna get out y'all way. So remember I had you repeat after me and say Leah, Leah, Leah? So my desire to have children never changed. I still wanted a baby. And though I didn't know how God was going to do it, I still believed that God was going to do it. I'm like, God, listen, you said no good thing. I'm walking upright as much as I can. I got a quick tongue, but I'm holding this tongue. I got an attitude, but I'm trying to get right before folks and nice to people. I'm doing what you required me to do. I'm 19 years married with no baby, y'all. I feel less than a woman. I feel this is the one thing that my husband wanted. I can't give it to him. There was so much anxiety and pressure, and I thank God for him because he was like, babe, how can we get it? You know, if we adopt, he was so casual, so nonchalant about it. But I'm like, no, I want to give you a baby. I want to have your baby. You know us, right? I want to have your baby. I want to give you a baby. All of that whole thing. But God sent me the right man. Who you marry matters.
Yes, it does.
Pin that. He sent me the right man. So I met the first Leah. And for sake of privacy, I'll call her Leah D. I met Leah D on April 25th. I got a phone call April 19th from a lady I used to go to church with. And she said, my goddaughter's pregnant. This is her 5th child. And she wants somebody she's giving it up for adoption. So she's looking for a family. Are you and your husband interested? I said, well, let us pray. Let us think about it, and I'll let you know. From the 19th to the 24th, we prayed. On the 25th, we met with Leah and her mother. They came over to the house, fell in love with my husband and I. My mother lives with us, fell in love with my mom. Everything was all set. She was scheduled to have the baby July 11th. She went into preterm labor and had the baby June 25th. So from April 25th to June 25th, we had built a relationship with this girl. Fell in love with her family. She fell in love with us. Every day we talked. Doctor's appointments, ultrasounds, the whole 9 yards. On June 26th, I went to the hospital. When I went into her hospital room, she was nursing the baby. At this point, I understood that that was the connection to the baby. She was not going to give her child away. God had, however, braced me for the impact. For whatever reason, as much as I love this baby and I love the girl and I love the situation and possibility, I could not get attached. I did not get attached. However, my husband and my mother did. And when I had to break the news that she texted me at midnight that night, she knew I would be asleep. So when I woke up in the morning, that was the first thing I saw. And so when I had to go and break the news to my mother and my husband was devastated. My mother took on whatever feeling I was feeling, because, women got to be strong. She was strong. But my husband couldn't keep it together. And so my prayer was, God, help me aid my husband. This is the exact moment he needs to help me. I need to help him through this. And God girded me up and strengthened me to be able to aid my husband in the way that I did, or the way that he needed me to. I didn't want to do what I wanted to do. I needed to do what he needed me to do. And that was my prayer. And that's what God performed. So Leah changed her mind, and she kept the baby. And then she contacted us weeks later and said, I want you to reconsider. It's too much for me, blah, 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 blah. And so I simply said to her, you will never have the opportunity to yo-yo my husband's and my mother's emotions again. I won't give you that opportunity. I said, if this is something you want to do, then you invest the capital. Now, mind you, we had hired a adoption attorney, gave him $5,000, the whole 9 yards. We were in this thing. God even fixed that. At the end of the adoption, when I called the attorney and told him the adoption didn't go through, I talked to this man for hours. He was $200 an hour. I talked to him for hours, day after day after day. He gave us back $3,800. $3,875 to be exact. We gave him $4,600. He gave us back $3,875 to be exact. So, and I kept saying, I said, God gonna fix that too. I said that we didn't even take a loss. This is what I told my husband. I said, God gonna fix that too. And when that man sent that check in the mail, I was able to testify to my husband to show him how faithful God is to his word. So that was able to increase his faith. So fast forward, we get over that. I get a new job. We got all this money. I'm like, man, we finna travel and we finna have us a good time. And we gonna spin the bag and do the thing, right? So fast forward, October 15th, I get a phone call. A friend of mine I used to work with. Girl, my goddaughter, this is her third baby. She can't take care of him. She pregnant. Yeah. She pregnant and she can't take care of the baby. I said, well, when does she do? She do between December 5th and December 7th. So we're in October. So I said, well, this is a fresh wound. I said, so I don't know how that's gonna go. And it devastated my husband last time. I gotta be concerned about him and my mother, their health, their mental health, emotional health, spiritual health. I don't want them to fall out with God and, all of these wonderful things. I said, so let me pray. On 10:15, I got the call. On 10:21, she called me and said, the girl is having Braxton Hicks contraction. I said, what? She said, did you talk to your husband yet? I said, girl, no, we got to December. I ain't talking to nobody about nothing. We tried to plan vacation. So she was like, well, I said, call me and let me know what's up. She called me after she said they sent her home. So she's good. 10:23. That's Saturday. I was at Boo at the Zoo with my little cousin and my husband and my older cousin and his family. And she's texting me, and my husband is like, what are you doing? Why are you put this phone down? She's texting me telling me that they're having an emergency C-section. The baby is coming. What you gonna do? Wow. I said, I haven't even talked about husband yet. We're not gonna do nothing. So she kept texting me. She said, they're prepping her. She's going back to surgery in 5 minutes. She said, if it's a girl, what do you want to name her? If it's a boy, what do you want to name her? These are the questions she asked me.
Come on.
So I'm like, okay, if it's a boy, name him Chosen Dwayne Boykins. If it's a girl, name her Chosen Monique Boykins. My middle name is Monique, my husband's middle name is Dwayne. So she's like, yeah, because the baby coming. I said, and the girl is still saying she don't want to do the baby. What is she going to do with it? She said she's going to have the baby and leave it at the hospital.
Jesus.
That was her plan. And so she said, so you have to talk to Kevin. I said, well, we're at the zoo. When we leave the zoo, you know, I'll try to talk, whatever. Because at this point, my back is against the wall. So we get in the car, and we're driving home from Boyd to Zoo. And I'm like, babe, so Michelle has this goddaughter. I give him the story. He's instantly angry at me. He's like, why would you keep that from me? And after I explained that I was trying to protect him, he understood. I'm like, I didn't keep it from you. I'm trying to protect you. And I thought we had until December, at least Thanksgiving, to make this decision. But this baby came 6 weeks early. Who knew the baby was coming? And so, correct, surprise. And so, we sat in the car, we prayed. We got in the house, he went to the man cave, he prayed, he came back upstairs. He said, so what we gonna do? I said, you make the decision, babe. I can't make it. Hands off. I said, you gotta make the decision. He said, well, what's she gonna do with the baby? I said, she gonna leave the baby at the hospital once it's born. He said, we can't leave that baby at the hospital. He said, call Michelle and tell her that we'll take the baby.
My God.
So I called Michelle. She was texting me at the same time, and she said, welcome Chosen Dwayne Boykins into the world. Welcome Chosen Dwayne Boykins into the world. At 6 weeks early, he was 5 pounds, 13 ounces. We found out the next day, so we found out on the 24th, that the baby was born addicted to drugs. He had fentanyl, oxycodone, and heroin in his system. And later on, we found out he had syphilis as well. So but this is what happened. When she had the baby, you know how they put the baby on you? She said, don't put the baby on her. Take it away. She didn't want to get the connection. So the lady came back. She said, well, we don't have any beds here. He has to go to NICU. We have to transport him to St. Anne's. Do you want to see him at least one time? She said, bring him in a room, but don't bring him to me. I don't want to hold him. So she peeked over and looked at him, and they took him away. They transported him to St. Anne's. That was the first and last time she had ever seen Chosen. This was on 10/23. On 10/25, I was at the courthouse getting emergency custody for my baby. I went and got the paperwork, took it to the hospital. She signed it. They had a notary in the hospital. They notarized it. I left the hospital, went back to the courthouse, filed the documentation. They granted me and my husband emergency custody right away. After that, because there's a flow, there's emergency custody, temporary custody, permanent custody. They granted us, God bless you, they granted us temporary custody after that. She never came to the court date. She still does not want to have anything to do with this baby. Now I'm stressing out like, Lord, she gonna show up at the court date. I would have to beat this girl up on my baby. I gotta be honest with y'all. Because I fight about my money, my man, and my baby. I say that I love Jesus, but I tell you, I don't play about them 3 things. So we get the temporary custody. She never shows up to the court date. We get the temporary custody. Everything is phenomenal. His birth certificate and his social security card come in the mail. They say Chosen Dwayne Boykins. Gave him the right name. So I said, God, this is really our baby. Still nervous, right? Because she's a birth mother. She could come back and say, hey, I want to contest this. I want to fight it. All the 9 yards. Still has not done that. This girl in particular had 2 other children. So the first Leah had 5. This Leah, this would have been her 3rd. And so both of them, now nobody but God can do this. These are their real names. Leah D and Leah T. That's their real names. Both of them were slated to have baby boys in 2021 via C-section prematurely that were supposed to bless the Boykins family. That first Leah that first baby was the forerunner for baby chosen.
Uh-huh.
It was to really get us prepped and
Yeah.
primed and ready for what was to come. And I believe that it was to see, I believe that God was saying, I want to see how you respond.
Uh-huh.
Right, I want to see how you act.
And so what I did was change my prayer. I went from saying, God, I want to conceive, I want to give birth to a baby, to saying, God, no matter how you do it, I want a baby.
Yeah.
No matter how you do it, I want a baby. And when I changed the way that I prayed, He answered that particular prayer. So I didn't get no stretch marks. I didn't go through no pain. But let me tell you, I didn't go through no labor. I didn't have to endure any pain. Sweatless and effortless. This is my all day long. This is my testimony. Sweatless and effortless. I didn't have to go through anything to have this baby. God is my witness. I stand right here, and some of you all are my social media friends. The baby's mother is this beautiful lady standing right here. Yes, with the red and black hair. Yeah, she's that complexion. The baby
looks like you.
It's my twin. It's my twin. Who the God who take my baby in a drug addict's body? He got to be able to tell somebody, I was born by two lungs, with bad underdeveloped lungs, because my mother was addicted, my birth mother was addicted to 3 different drugs. But look at me now, no developmental delay. My baby will be 5 months old on Wednesday. He has $5,206 in the bank. He has a business that I started for him on Valentine's Day. When he turns 12 years old, his business is going to hire him. He's going to be employed by his business, and he's going to get paid to learn. He's going to have property at the age of 16. I'm not playing no games. God put my baby in somebody else's body to give him a story to be able to testify to others as I'm testifying to y'all today. That's Chosen's life. There's no way in the world I won't tell him his story. People like, you gonna tell him as long as I got a mouth? Because I ain't worried about nothing. You think I'm gonna withhold what God has done for him, from him? Are we crazy? I would never withhold what God has done for him, from him. For my own selfish reasons, because I don't want to look crazy.
That's right.
I love telling this story because I understand that there are women in my position with PCOS. I understand that there are women who have ovulatory cycles, which means they ovulate every month, but they have a cycle every month, but they don't ovulate every month, so they cannot conceive. I understand that. And so I tell people, because your body doesn't allow you to produce a baby, don't mean you can't have one.
That's right.
Because your body doesn't allow you to make a baby, it doesn't mean you can't have one. So after 19 years, let me tell y'all about time. God don't care nothing about it. When you think about 19 years, it seems like a long time. But when God gives you the thing that you've waited for, He redeems the time. I don't feel like I'm going to chosen, chosen, because that means God's elect.
Yeah.
So every time he acting up, and I call him chosen instead of cho-cho or chozy, I'm calling him God's elect.
Yeah.
I'm putting it in the atmosphere. I'm calling him by that name because you're going to line up with your name. Period.
Yeah.
God is true to his name and his nature, and chosen is going to be true to his name and his nature. So I named him chosen because I want him to remember you are God's elect. You are the chosen one. And so Leah in the Bible represented someone who was unloved and someone who used her womb as consolation for herself. And so when I liken the other two Leahs, Leah D and Leah T, to Leah of the Bible, I see the stream of similarities. These young women are having children because they feel unloved, unwanted, and they're using their womb as consolation. And so when I think about that, and I bless God because he allowed me to make that connection, because I'm like, come on, God, this is too crazy for me. This don't even make logical sense. And because I can't make sense of it, because your ways and thoughts are far beyond that, I know it's you. He gave me a peek into that thing and said, I put it in you a long time ago that words, that names would have meanings. And when you named chosen, you did it with the knowledge of that you wanted him to have. When you call his name, you wanted to be calling him actually into his nature, into who I called him to be, the chosen one. And he allowed me to see that thing across Leah in the Bible, Leah D and Leah T, and it blessed me. And so I tell young mothers now, be careful what you call your children.
That's right.
Be careful what you label your children. My mother be like, come here, little bad boy. I be like, the devil is a liar. I snatch every word curse. I snatch every dirty thing out of the air as soon as it comes. We have to be careful. All those little cute things we be saying, those, I'm telling you, those things are forming things and planting them and seeds in your children. It don't take but one person to water. And then that particular seed is going to grow. So I snatch all of that stuff out of the air when people refer to my son in a particular way.
Come on.
I'm going to leave you guys with this. Faith is fuel. That's all it is.
That's true.
Faith is fuel.
That's true.
That's it. It propels you into what you want that you can't see. If your car has no fuel, it's not moving.
That's right.
If your desire has no fuel, it's never coming into fruition. It's not moving.
No.
You gotta slap some faith on that thing in order for you to get it to where you want it to be. That's in the natural and in the spiritual. First natural, then spiritual. That's it. The Bible says without faith,
It's impossible.
it is impossible to please him. You can have love, you can be saved,
That's right.
sweetly saved,
Right.
going to heaven, all sweet as pumpkin pie, all the wonderful things. But if you lack faith, you are not pleasing God. God bless you all. Thank you for listening.